welcome. My name is Kelly, and this is Fanimated, an animation fan podcast where we get a chance to geek out about our favorite animated media. And when I say we, I mean me, because this is a solo episode coming at you where it's just me and you and whatever you're doing right now. I hope your 2023 is off to a great start. I know mine is, and I'm so excited for all that is to come on the podcast this year. But for today, I would really love to just take a step back and look back on 2022 and all the amazing things that have happened in animation this year. So today, I'm going to be exploring my favorite media, animated media of 2022. All of the new releases that I loved the most. This will be a spoiler-free episode, so if you haven't seen everything, that is okay, but hopefully this gives you some recommendations for things that maybe you haven't seen yet, and also be thinking about what your favorites are from 2022 and let me know. You can reach me on Instagram at Fanimated Podcast. That's probably the easiest way to reach me. Or you can email me at fanimatedpodcast@gmail.com. But I am most easy to reach actually on Patreon. You can become a member of the Fanimated crew over there for as little as $1 a month. You can cancel anytime, and you get access to bonus episodes every single month, upcoming polls for upcoming topics for our episodes, as well as the schedule. Every single month, I release the schedule in advance to the Patreon supporters so they know what's coming up. And of course, you have direct access to message me. So definitely let me know what your favorites of 2022 are and which ones I missed this year, because, you know, I am only one person. I can't see every single anime, every single movie. And so this is just based off of my interests, what I like. And so I might have missed something. So please let me know what I've missed. With all that said, again, this is spoiler free. This is just my opinion. I have not seen every single new release from 2022. And I honestly, I ranked these basically as which ones I enjoyed the most rather than which ones I think are objectively the best. And so some of them I do think objectively are just like phenomenal, and but there are some that I know other people would rank differently. And you know, I mean, that's what I love about this podcast and what I love about like the animation fandoms in general, is that like everything is gonna like speak to different people in different ways. And so something that really stuck out to you this year and really spoke to you and is meaningful to you isn't going to be the movie or TV show that speaks to everybody. And what this podcast has taught me is that some things that I didn't like or didn't connect with me do connect with other people. Like there is a movie, a TV show, an anime out there for everyone that is going to impact you and is going to leave an emotional response. And so like this is just based off of my own experience, but I hope that at least some of them are on your list. And I'm excited to hear what stuck out to you guys this past year. And what an amazing year it's been, like not only just in animation, but just for Fanimated in general. You know, going through the 4th anniversary of Fanimated, we uploaded 28 episodes, I believe, and I also got to do a lot of really fun collabs this year. So thank you for joining the adventure, and I'm excited for 2023. So I just keep blathering on during this intro, so let's get going. I have 3 different categories for this list, and I have a top 5 for every category. So we'll start out with anime and then Western cartoons, basically any animated series that isn't Japanese, and then movies is the last category, and I have a top 5 for all of them. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and start with anime. the anime season, like as a whole of all of 2022 has been fantastic. This fall especially, like I don't want this to be recency bias, but like a lot of my top 5 are coming out of this fall's lineup because this fall season was insane. So many great things coming out. I'll just say right now, an honorable mention is season 2 of To Your Eternity that just came out. To Your Eternity is one of my favorite anime. It's just so unique and different. It doesn't have the same crazy dramatic pull as some others, and it's not a shonen, it's not a romance. I don't know what this is. It's something completely different, and I love it. That's not part of the 5. I just wanted to say that To Your Eternity is great, and I'm sad I couldn't put it on here. But let's move on. Number 5, the actual number 5, we'll get started, is another fall season anime. It's Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man is an anime that has had like the biggest hype. Okay, coming into this year, everyone, like, people who read manga a lot more than I do, were all up in arms, so excited about it, and just kept talking about it, and there was so much hype for it. And of course, it's Studio Mappa, so of course the animation is going to be phenomenal. And you know what? Like, the hype delivered. Like, this show delivers. And what's unusual, and some people might be surprised that I put it as number 5 and not as number 1, because for some people, this is going to be their number 1 anime of the year. And I think that is totally reasonable. But starting out with this anime, like, I was not impressed. Like, I mean, the animation is gorgeous. Like, I cannot with the animation. Just, it deserves to be on this list just for the animation alone. But Chainsaw Man kind of starts out as your typical shonen. It kind of just felt like Jujutsu Kaisen. And it changes the game a little way through. And again, this is a no spoiler episode, but wow, it is hitting my emotional resonancy to the nth degree. And it is just, besides just the emotional weight to it and the unusual characters, like, it truly is just a phenomenal action shonen. I'm excited to see where this story goes. It's doing things that I wasn't expecting. It truly is a character show, and these characters are unlike any characters I have seen in anime, and that is saying something, because anime is full of crazy characters. But this show is filled with, like, literally everyone is insane in their own ways. They're all just trying their best. And to be honest, sometimes their best is pretty bad. So it's really interesting. I'm really excited to see where it goes. This protagonist is completely different than what you normally see in shonen. And so I'm intrigued. I'm interested. The animation is phenomenal. It's a great viewing experience. But it is on number 5 because my personal fandom nerddom self gets a little more excited about some of these others. But before we get to the other ones on my list, Chainsaw Man is not for everybody. Definitely discretion is advised. It is the goriest anime I've seen, and that is including, like, Vinland Saga and Attack on Titan. So Chainsaw Man is not going to be for everybody. It does have other adult content as well, besides just the gore. So this is not for kiddos. This is for adults only, please. And some people don't like that, and that is A-okay. This Chainsaw Man is not for you. I don't even think I need to give you a synopsis of Chainsaw Man, because you're either into shonen anime and you already know all about it, or you're not into shonen anime and you don't like gore and you're not going to touch it, and that's fine. So we'll move on. My number 4 best anime of 2022 is Komi Can't Communicate Season 2. Komi Can't Communicate is a rom-com following Komi, who has social anxiety, can't talk to people, and Tadano, who is her classmate and is the first one to kind of realize, hey, Komi, do you have a hard time talking to people? And he tries to help her through that struggle, and along the way helps her make a whole bunch of new friends. So it is very wholesome, very cute. The animation in this show as well, like, top tier. I absolutely love it. The reason why it's on this list, like, even from the very first intro, like the intro of the show for season 2, I cried. Like, I had tears rolling down my cheeks because of the intro of season 2, because I was just like, all of these characters are back and I love them and I'm just overcome with emotion. So it's just hilarious. It's filled with ridiculousness. The romance is cute. The characters are cute. All the relationships are just so fun. And, like, it's just a whole bunch of school kids having a good time and learning to be friends. And it's just really wholesome, and I love it. I recommend, if you're watching Komi Can't Communicate for the first time, please watch it with the subtitles if you can. Netflix botched the dub, and it's hard to follow, and it's not as funny, actually. So that's my recommendation. You can find it on Netflix. Number 3, continuing with the rom-com theme, is Kaguya-sama Love is War Season 3. I had a really hard time deciding whether to put Komi or Kaguya first in this lineup, but Kaguya won out over Komi Can't Communicate because Kaguya-sama Love is War is endgame. It's the endgame of the series, and Kaguya-sama is a rom-com set basically in a high school, a very prestigious high school, and it's this love story between the president of the student body and the vice president, and how they they both love each other, but they are refusing to be the first one to admit it. So it's all about them trying to get the other person to admit that they love them. And so love is war. And it's full of these tiny little snippet scenarios and scenes where it's absolutely over the top, insane, trying to scheme up a way to get the other person to admit their feelings. It's hilarious. These characters are just so genuine. I love that it just takes place in this very small little world of this school. Like, it doesn't really go outside of the school very much. It's just like in its own little world. It's a very focused, very well-written show. And season 3, like, the finale delivers. Again, no spoilers this episode, but the finale delivers, people. So it had to be a little higher on my list. All right, we're getting to the end of the anime here, folks. Number 2, best anime of 2022, for me, is Mob Psycho 100 Season 3. Another anime that absolutely hit the mark in its finale this year. And this is it. Like, this is the end of Mob Psycho 100, and wow. Just wow. I love Mob Psycho. It's written by the same mangaka that wrote One Punch Man. So if you've seen One Punch Man, you'll enjoy this one too. But the premise is basically Mob is this school kid who has these insane psychic powers, has all the powers in the world, and yet just wants to be a normal student. Like, just wants to be a normal kid. And it's his struggle to balance all of his raw power with daily life. And how he tries to do that is suppressing all of his emotions. And then when his emotions overfill, he kind of goes off. So it's really sweet. It's funny, good action, incredible action scenes. Like, some of the animation in this show just like leaves my jaw on the floor. I love the style of it. I love how they can express Mob's power in such visually raw ways. And this season has like 2 arcs especially that are just so poignant. Like, it's silly, it's fun, it's ridiculous, but then it always comes back and hits you right in the feels. Like, it knows how to also make a strong emotional point, and season 3 delivers so much. So it's just a joy to see these characters back at all, and then to have this story complete in such a beautiful way. And I hope that you take the time to enjoy it as well. Okay, so that leaves us with the number 1. What is the best anime of 2022, in my humble opinion? Well, it's Spy Family. I don't know how anyone could not enjoy this show. Spy Family, or Spy X Family, as some people will say, is about a spy who puts together a cover family, basically, where they all have their own secret identities, unbeknownst to the others. So Lloyd is the spy in this scenario. He marries Yor, who is secretly an assassin, and he adopts a daughter, Anya, who, unbeknownst to them both, can read minds. So Anya knows everything that's going on. But she's just a silly kid, and remains a silly kid throughout the whole show so far. And so it's just like it's the fake family turned real family. These characters are just wonderful and hilarious and heartfelt and so fun to watch. Their dynamics are just both hilarious and also just like true and so cute. Like, it's every single episode is a joy, and that's why it's number 1 for me, is that this show has no duds. Every single episode is a winner, and every single episode I am just smiling ear to ear. This is comfort anime at its peak, and I cannot recommend it enough to literally everybody. Like, this is an anime everyone can enjoy. And if you don't, well, then let me know, because I'd love to hear why. The Spy Family, please watch it. That's it. It's the best. Every single episode is a hit. It's number 1 in my book for sure. So there you go. There you have it. Top 5 anime for me of 2022 are number 5, Chainsaw Man. Number 4, Komi Can't Communicate, Season 2. Number 3, Kaguya-sama Love is War, Season 3. Number 2, Mob Psycho 100, Season 3. And number 1, Spy Family. Moving on to our next section, we have the best Western cartoons or animated series that are not Japanese. And this was not as challenging as trying to pick the top 5 anime, because to be honest, I haven't watched that many animated series this year. So I get a little sucked into the anime world and sometimes don't watch as many Western cartoons, but I still have 5 to offer here, and I wish I had time to have watched more, but this is what I have. So my number 5 favorite is my guilty pleasure, Miraculous Ladybug Season 5. If you don't know Miraculous Ladybug, it's a French animated series about superheroes, Chat Noir, and Ladybug. And it's... I will admit, it's not a good show. It is objectively a poor show, but I have followed it for years. I love the fandom, and it's just silly and wonderful. And season 5 is finally, again, no spoilers, but it's finally making some decisions, which is so good to see. So Miraculous Ladybugs follows these 2 superheroes, and the whole draw of it is that, like, not only is it just good, fun superhero fun times, it's also a, like, love square in which like Ladybug and Chat Noir love each other, but they love the wrong version of each other. So Ladybug is Marinette and Chat Noir is Adrian, but Adrian / Chat Noir is in love with Ladybug, but Marinette is in love with Adrian. So Chat Noir is always flirting with Ladybug, but Ladybug is in love with Adrian, but they don't know that each other are each other in the superheroes. Does this make any sense at all, or am I blathering? Trying to explain this show is always weird. Basically, it's silly, it's ridiculous, it's fun, and it's French. So I have a good time with it. I'm not ashamed of absolutely loving the show and these silly little characters and this silly little world that is their version of Paris. So, I mean, check it out if you want. If you want to, let me know if you watch Miraculous Ladybug and if you were as shocked as I was about season 5. Moving on. Number 4, The Dragon Prince season 4. Listen, The Dragon Prince is one of my faves for sure. It's been gone for like 3 years, and it's back. It's back, man. It's back. Is season 4 my favorite season of The Dragon Prince? No, not by a long shot. But I don't care because the princes are back. And I couldn't be more pleased just to be back in this magical world with these fantastic characters. I don't even care what they're doing. They could just be sitting around cross-stitching and I would be having a good time. So there is drama, there is high stakes, there are many crazy adventures in season 4, and I'm just excited. I'm just happy to be here. If you don't know, The Dragon Prince follows this magical land of Zadia that is split between the magical and the, like, human worlds. And these two princes basically try to bring this dragon egg back to his mother to kind of, like, bridge the divide. And of course they're accompanied by Moonshadow elf Rayla, and it's a really fantastic adventure. It's on Netflix, and like it just has a very strong fandom, and it's just a lot of fun to, you know, root for these characters. So season 4 was just so fun. It was so fun to, like, get together with my friends again to, like, watch it together, and it's just like a fun time. Everyone has a fun time watching this show. So definitely check it out. Easily my number 4. And if you want to hear more about season 4 of The Dragon Prince, I got the great pleasure of joining the podcast What's Up Fandom to interview not only the creators of the show, but also many of the cast members. So definitely check out What's Up Fandom to listen to our whole interviews. It was really, really fun and a really crazy experience, and definitely check it out. My number 3 favorite Western cartoon of 2022 is The Legend of Vox Machina. If you don't know, The Legend of Vox Machina is the animation adaptation of Critical Role's first Dungeons and Dragons campaign. So it is wild and silly and crazy, fantastic characters. This show is fun, it's silly. It is even more entertaining if you are a fan of Critical Role, but it's just as entertaining if you're not. I personally never seen an episode of Critical Role, and I love this show so much. So you can still follow it if you don't follow Critical Role. And if you are a big fan, this is probably extra special for you. If you don't know Dungeons and Dragons, that's also okay, because it still makes sense. It's basically your high fantasy adventure. They just make some Dungeons and Dragons jokes here and there, which you may or may not get or might think are funny without context. So it just follows this ragtag group of adventurers like many Dungeons and Dragons stories do, and their quest through this high fantasy world. What else is there to say? This version of, a Dungeons and Dragons game is just extremely funny. The characters are fantastic, and I really hope they get a chance to tell us more of the story. I know it's been renewed for a second season, which I'm excited about. And actually might be coming out really, really soon as of this recording. So, keep an eye on that. But now's your time to catch up if you haven't seen the first season. But it was definitely a highlight of my year last year, and I hope it was for you too. And if you haven't checked it out, please do. Definitely some mature themes in this one as well. So be warned. Okay, these next two are for sure my favorite by an absolute landslide. So my number 2 favorite Western cartoon of 2022 is Bee and Puppycat Lazy in Space. Now, I don't know how I was never a fan of the first Bee and Puppycat that came out on YouTube, but wow, Bee and Puppycat is available on Netflix. It is... I don't even know how to describe. It's basically like a sci-fi-esque, chill animation, and I can't tell if it's for adults or not. I think, from what I've read at least, it's kind of written with adults in mind, but it's also super chill, and it's okay for kids to watch because it does not go too crazy on anything, I don't think. But it's more like, it's chill, wholesome. Like, chill is literally the word that describes this. It's like, I know these might sound like antonyms of each other, but it's chill chaos, if that makes sense. Like, it is... like, you don't know what's going on. Barely anything makes sense. And yet it is, for me, the most relaxing thing to watch. I watched the first episode and it was just like, what in the world did I just witness? And yet I was so drawn to keep watching more. If I was trying to explain the synopsis of the show, it's basically Bee, who is this girl living on this island, and she is just trying to keep a job so that she can pay rent. That's her main objective in this show. But she's really not very good at being an adult. And so Puppycat shows up, who is a cat dog thing. And Puppycat has temp work for Bee in this weird other dimension / space. So it is kind of sci-fi-esque. It is silly. It's very episodic. It doesn't make any sense, but the characters are fantastic. It does start to make sense later on. It's kind of like they don't give you all of the context for everything until the very end, which I think is brilliant. I personally love that because I just sit there and I'm enjoying this silly little adventure and this silly journey. And then at the end, I'm like, oh. So no spoilers, but Bee and Puppycat probably isn't for everyone because it's so unusual. I know of people who have watched it who do not like the chaos, but I cannot explain how deeply connected I am to this story now because I instantly connected with all the characters and was just like, yes, this is the world that I want to inhabit. If that makes sense. Like, I don't think any other show has spoken so deeply to what is in my soul as Bee and Puppycat Lazy in Space. So please give it a shot. I cannot recommend it enough. I enjoy it to no end, and I really hope I get more episodes to enjoy because it's wild. that's not even to mention the amazing animation. It's phenomenal. It's such a cute style. And I want to live in this weird universe. So give it a shot. It's definitely my number 2. Which brings us to my number 1 Western cartoon of 2022. To nobody's surprise, it's The Owl House, Season 2B. If you don't know, The Owl House is a Disney Channel original series, and it is following Luz Noceda, who stumbles into a magical realm, just like many other protagonists have, except in this magical world, everything is a little topsy-turvy, a little weird, a little grotesque. And Luz's one and only dream is to become a witch. So she becomes a witch apprentice to Eda Cawthorn, who is the crazy witch lady who is like wanted by the emperor, and her dog/son, King, who is a demon. And that's it. I mean, the premise at least. No spoilers here, but Luz obviously goes on this wild magical adventure, gains lots of friends along the way, and also lots of trauma. If you've listened to some of our Owl House episodes, like episode 112, you can hear all about all of the crazy details and how deeply in love with this show I am. But to give you like a brief idea, some of these characters are some of my favorite characters in all of animation, period. Like, this show is so phenomenal. I mean, if you're into animation at all, you already know about it probably, because it's such a huge show. And I can't recommend it enough. It's been such a wild ride, like seeing these characters grow and develop and change. Everyone gets a chance to shine. Like, this world is so unique, and I'm just so sad that it's ending so soon. But I put season 2B because we only got one episode of season 3 in 2022, and it was definitely good. But if I was to compare thanks to them with season 2B wins, because in my opinion, still, Hollow Mind is the best episode of The Owl House ever. The end. It changed everything. So, no spoilers here, but it's got to be my number 1. It's like without question, The Owl House has completely changed my 2022 experience and has made me hyped for animation at a level I haven't reached since like the How to Train Your Dragon movies were coming out. So The Owl House is it, okay? The Owl House is my favorite, and I'm so excited for the last 2 episodes of the show, and I hope to see it end really spectacularly and really well. But if you haven't given it a shot yet, I hope this is your, encouragement to do so. But for me, at least, it's my number 1. So, quick recap. Top 5 Western cartoons of 2022. Number 5, Miraculous Ladybug, Season 5. Number 4, The Dragon Prince, Season 4. Number 3, The Legend of Vox Machina. Number 2, Bee and Puppy Cat, Lazy in Space. And number 1, The Owl House, Season 2B. So to wrap up this list of the best animation in 2022, we of course have to talk about the animated films. And there were a lot of them this year, so let's just dive right into it. Number 5 is Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I don't know. Listen, everybody knows the story of Pinocchio. If you don't, then you need to watch this movie, clearly. But Del Toro, of course, does something different with it. It is some of the best stop motion animation I've ever seen. Hands down, not even a question. This is up there with Leica Films, and wow, it blew me away in terms of technicality and the animation, and that's why it's number 5. But I will admit, Pinocchio in general just isn't my favorite story, and so it didn't hit me as deeply as it hit other people. So I know for a lot of people, this might be a lot higher on the list. But I wanted to give it the kudos it deserves just for being in amazing animation feat. So definitely check it out, especially if you're a fan of Del Toro's other work. I know I'm a huge fan of his Tales of Arcadia series, and so I was excited to see him do some stop motion animation. The music is great. The animation is phenomenal. The story really is very unique and very lovely. And I know a lot of people who this was their favorite film of the year. So definitely give it a shot if you haven't already. Number 4 is Turning Red. This was the emotional response that I look for in an animated film. I was definitely tearing up at the end. Turning Red follows a young girl who has a family curse, basically, that the girls like turn into a red panda, and to get rid of the curse they have to follow this little ritual. And she's just trying to figure out who she is. It's very much a coming of age story, where she's like dealing with this magical transformation while also just trying to be a normal kid with her friends. And it just really I relate to it on so many levels. It was so much fun. The animation is fantastic. And yeah, it just has a lot to say about like mother-daughter relationships, which I find absolutely beautiful and not something that we get to see a lot in media in general, let alone animated media. So definitely kudos to everyone who worked on this film. Absolutely phenomenal, and highly recommend it if you haven't seen it yet. Number 3 was a last edition for me because I didn't see this until yesterday as of recording this episode. And that is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I wasn't even going to see Puss in Boots in theaters. I was going to wait for that to come out on streaming or something else, but I was convinced, and I'm so glad I was, because Puss in Boots: The Last Wish has such a unique animation style. It definitely is pulling from, the Spider-Verse kind of 3D animation, where there's a lot of the 2D overlay for effects. In this case of the very much a brusher painterly style for a lot of the characters and backgrounds. And then when the action speeds up, they actually take out some of that in between frames to give it, again, that's similar to what Spider-Verse has done in the past. And it just looks beautiful. It's gorgeous. Like this would be number 3 on the list just for the animation itself. But not only that, I was never bored. It's absolutely hilarious. It's a fun adventure for everyone. I was in it the whole time. I don't even follow the Puss in Boots franchise at all. I don't think I've seen the first film. I definitely haven't seen any of the series because I believe there's an animated series. But this was fun, even if you don't know anything about the Shrek franchise or the Puss in Boots franchise. I mean, it's the world of fairy tales that they pull fun little things from the different fairy tales and make a great story. And yeah, it was a good time all around. Beautiful animation, absolutely wild. The villain, the true antagonist of this film, literally, I think the scariest villain I've seen. And I hesitate a little bit about that, but I think it's true. Like, I had goosebumps in theory watching this movie. Absolutely terrifying in the best way. Just because it was done so phenomenally. So please check it out. Wow, oh wow. I am still processing this movie. And you for sure are going to have a good time. So definitely check out Puss in Boots. My number 2 favorite movie of 2022 was My Father's Dragon, the cartoon saloon animated film that just like really, really, really connected with me. This one is also available on Netflix, as Pinocchio is available on Netflix. But what I like more about My Father's Dragon is that it has this poignant emotional resonancy that I do appreciate. It follows a kid who has to leave his hometown, leave everything he knew, and move into the city with his mom. And, they're going through some financial difficulties, and things aren't the way they were before. And, this kid is upset, he's scared, and it is just a hard, time in his life. And he goes out in search of a dragon to help, so kind of solve all of his problems. And yet instead he kind of gains a friend in the dragon and helps the dragon overcome his own obstacles. And of course, just like with any cartoon saloon film, the animation is so unique, so spectacular. I love the simplistic chalk-like feel of it all, and yet there's always little movements of the hair or clothing or the environment around them that makes the animation just look absolutely superb. And I really am just a fan of that storybook style. So of course it's going to be up on my list because of that. But also this film really spoke to something that I haven't seen an animated film do very much. And basically the whole, again, I don't want to spoil, but I think this is something phenomenal to bring up, is that the film's theme really was it's okay to be scared. And wow, if people don't need that kind of a story now, then when will they? And not only that, it's these two main protagonists are male presenting. So you have young boys saying it's okay to be scared. And what a message to receive, not only for kids, but for adults too. Even I was tearing up, and in a world like this one that we live in, and things aren't always easy, and even kids can feel the pressures of it. It's okay to feel that way, and it's okay to be honest with yourself and with other people about how you're feeling. And wow, it was just, again, I don't want to keep talking too much because I don't want to spoil it. But it was a really, really beautiful film. So please check out My Father's Dragon. Number one movie of 2022, without a question, The Sea Beast. Another film you can find on Netflix. But wow, okay. This is How to Train Your Dragon meets Pirates. And that's the best way I can describe it. It's fun for literally everybody. Everyone's going to have a good time with this. The animation is impeccable. The scale at which this animation is at, I'm just blown away. I need someone to write a 400-page dissertation on the animation technical feats of this film, because I'm sitting here how in the world did they pull this off? You need to see it for yourself. It's absolutely insane. I can't describe it at all. Not only that, but the characters are absolutely completely endearing. You fall in love with them immediately. And they have this absolutely perfect back and forth banter that just hits the right spot. It's absolutely hilarious. You can hear all the details about the whole thing. We did a whole Fanimated episode on it. It's number 111. Definitely check it out. Because wow, I have so much to say about this film, but just trust me, it's definitely number one for a reason. So with that, a quick recap is number 5, Del Toro's Pinocchio. Number 4, Turning Red. Number 3, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Number 2, My Father's Dragon. And number 1, The Sea Beast. I really wanted to include as well, like, honorable mentions for the films. Goodbye, Don Glees. You can hear me talk more about that in the What You Watchin' number 30. Wendell and Wild, another stop motion animation feature, which isn't really my cup of tea specifically, but I had an absolutely great time watching it, and it is super unique and fun. So if you like stop motion animation, and especially if you like Tim Burton-esque things, you're going to like Wendell and Wild. And of course, DreamWorks' The Bad Guys surprised me and was super fun, just wasn't quite up to snuff compared to the other ones on the list. So there you have it. Those are my favorite movies and cartoons and anime of 2022. Definitely let me know what you think the best animated media was that released this year. I know there was a lot to choose from, and of course I didn't get to see everything, so definitely let me know. Again, you can go over to patreon.com/fanimated to hear over a dozen bonus episodes, and right now you can vote for what kind of episodes you want to see coming up in 2023. Do you like the top 10 episodes, What You Watchins? Do you like us talking about Disney, anime? Let us know. That poll is up right now. Again, you can donate $1 to be part of the poll and part of the Fanimated crew, and you can cancel at any time. So it's really a win-win situation, and that money goes directly to support the podcast. It does take money to just keep it on the air. So thank you to everyone who's already part of the Fanimated crew, because you are making this podcast possible for everybody else. You are the true heroes here. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Fanimated Podcast to stay up to date with all things animated. Coming up soon, I'll be doing another live stream on YouTube, so you definitely want to be subscribed so you don't miss it. The music is written by Jamie Krause, and the art is done by myself. You can find me on Instagram at CandorDraw. So we'll be back in a couple of weeks to talk about the new Owl House episode that will be airing very soon. And in the meantime, stay tuned and stay animated. I don't feel like I even need to give you a synopsis of Chainsaw Man. Just, good luck.